Deport African Americans. Africa has had an audit completed by Bill Gates. Of course, the reparation was defined by key Africans. So African American deportees have a place to go where their culture is the same, their value systems are the same. So Africa had the audit complete and the reparation defined by Dr. Arikana Shiomborikwa, Professor Lamumba, President Traore, and there are other key players down here, and they are in cooperation to have the reparation, which Bill Gates has described as $200 billion. So Africa is ready for the African American deportees. And China is also helping Africa. Africa is ready by Burkina Faso plus the Sahel being ready. It's called the Sahel, that's Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. And it's ready for the African American deportees. So the Africa is ready and inviting the diaspora back to the Sahel. The latest is the Confederal Bank. So there will be more schools, universities, energy, military, agriculture, and housing. We're going to handle this responsibility. If they go back to Africa and retrain with Dr. Arikana, President Traore, and the culture will be saved with integrity and courage for the children to know that they should live by integrity and courage. When African Americans terminated me at the city of Delray Beach, I had a good 5-year written evaluation. They could not do my job even 8 years later. People came from Delray Beach down to Boca Raton, where I was volunteering, to tell me this. What African Americans are permitted to do by the Republicans, so-called permission structure, seems to be similar to the O.J. Simpson case. Dick Cheney described the permission structure. Well, he said there's a permission structure. He's there with his daughter. She's also in politics, and her two sons. So Trump is headed in the correct direction. He made 195 countries angry by sending tariffs, and he deported 31 countries and made them angry. But he head over there to Japan and the Toyota Ponyo robots. And Florida Atlantic University AI Sandbox has, first it had a dog robot, then an administrative robot. And Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago also has a robot. President Obama is not every African American. President Obama is an educated person. He's collaborating and cooperating with President Traore and all the really educated Africans. Not handle the responsibility because Obama became president. African Americans tried to assume power and have a coup d'etat. I saw the coup d'etat. I was abused by African American state trooper. He violated my Fourth Amendment rights. I experienced outrageous government conduct by African American sheriff. He gave the thief my things and arrested me. So the African American coup d'etat, which I experienced, is an African American state trooper off the computer but in his uniform and in his car, violating my Fourth Amendment rights, ticketing me back to back, towing my car. I also experienced it in Broward County, African American police in Broward. So Monday, December 30, 2024, a state trooper checked my driver license. He said no prior calls, indicating that the violation of my Fourth Amendment rights, and the pictures to the FBI indicating a coup d'etat was off the computer because the white state trooper said there were no prior calls. So the African American state trooper was just assisting my ex-husband, who is African American. So we had the African American gangs in the police departments. So these are the robot police. And if we have robot police, we'll reduce conflict, reduce fatigue, reduce errors, reduce fighting. reduce population, reduce costs, reduce trouble, reduce African American gangs in the police department. The FBI said they were investigating me, but the state trooper said no prior cause. So who is investigating me? Not the state trooper who was abusing me, and not the African American sheriff who was abusing me. So such abuses off the computer are symptoms of a coup d'etat. This is just a garbage robot here. They can do everything. So I had to give you the reasons for deporting African Americans. Historically, Africans are cursed as Canaan is the son of Ham. They have Nilotic unrestrained ritual culture of Kenya, Congo, Egypt, Ethiopia, Uganda, and South Sudan. Nilotic unrestrained ritual misogyny, creating huge mamas and the art of devaluing and degrading women. Nilotic unrestrained ritual robberies, repeated robberies, example the robbing of where I used to work in Winfield Plaza repeatedly. President Obama free phone that they gave to people. Obama was preparing for something. I believe he prepared for a coup d'etat or the permission. So I describe what's happening where I'm stalked. They run me into the ground, rob me, and make sure I stay down. It's the Obama free phone, nigger prey conquest, bragging, gang stalking, bullying. They already ruined my son's life and killed him. So being only 13.7% of the population of the USA, yet they are able to get this coup d'etat accomplished, including getting permission. African Americans are thuggish, loud, bullying, savage in conduct and communication, much like the conduct we see in Africa now that USAID was taken away by pushing out the white farmers. They stole everything on the farm and in the farmhouse. They have low IQ, thinking the more discussion and bullying. They think that talking about sex and bullying people is acceptable. They have innate betrayal symptoms in Africa and USA, like 1987, President Sankara was killed by his friend. They practice the art of degrading women in word and music. Kanye West had made his wife walk almost nude and let people photograph her having oral sex with him. So the coup d'etat and the bragging saying we are the government and we are replacing you I had direct attacks like this. I even had my phone service cut off. They stole my phones too. Africa does not like itself. It pays whites to give them lighter skinned children here in the United States. If a person makes money from sports or music, they want to have lighter children. They don't want light themselves. It's impossible to unite. Well, I'm helping them unite so that they can go home because they fight among themselves and they're not cooperative among themselves. But there are like 9 key players which are listed. Well, I'm working with them to get Africans to like each other, like themselves, and work together. So China prepared the infrastructure by replacing the IMF on some projects. Robots do their work better. African American police gangs, sheriff, and state violate human rights off the computer. African Americans are pushing others out of banks and stealing $25 or so and closing their account. That happened to me at, I think, Financial Credit Union. African Americans are pushing others out of jobs, like I was pushed out of the city of Delray Beach, and Nigerians are opening credit cards in American names. Finally, trying what Thomas Isidore Noel Sankara, who was assassinated in 1987 by his friend, President Traore is trying to decolonize Africa. I have so many reasons. Sex and money are more important than the human rights and safety of women and children. When they bullied me out of my job with the city of Delray Beach, residents came and told me that other people couldn't do my job, and they did not know that I worked in the summer when I was 17 with the government of Jamaica, and I also worked with the European Union and the state before going to the city of Delray Beach. African Americans stalk and rob, and they want to use me again. And they run me into the ground and then give me to the thugs. It's not my fault that the African American police did this and that, violating human rights and civil rights. From Broward to North Palm Beach County, I was affected by this coup d'etat, and I do have a coup d'etat video, but the attacks go from Broward to where I was working all the way in North Palm Beach County. I just tested it. So you're bragging about domination or degrading another person. The value system is based on deception and barbaric taste level. African Americans hate Caribbean islands because Cambridge University managed our high schools and we came here as students. African Americans, though, will rob and use people from the Caribbean. They are permitted by whites to execute the Holocaust paradigm on Caribbean islanders. So I had a stalker Saturday, March 15 at 2020, woke me up at 6:30. Local community stalker, which is permitted by white police and white Boca Raton, white rich Boca Raton. The stalker Tuesday, March 18, 2005, taunting me at 10:30 a.m. Local community stalkers with Obama free phones also want to make sure to keep me running to the ground. I was pretty rich when I was working with the city of Delray Beach. I worked 3 jobs and bought a condo for sale by owner. And then I bought a luxury townhouse. And so I had 2 properties and 2 mortgages. And I also now have a Bachelor of Business Administration and Management from Florida Atlantic University. Africans lost all good characteristics as slaves of white Americans and then being bullied by white Americans in the race race. So they exhibit these bad characteristics. What was done to them as slaves, they do to other people. President Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso and Dr. Burkina Faso are inviting people back to Africa. So I say deport African Americans because of the value system is based on betrayal, and the African Americans are savage, just like in Africa. And we don't want the O.J. Simpson case and my case to be repeated, the misogyny and the attacks over and over again, crimes against women and children. If these things go unchecked, the African Americans would take control of all USA government, banks, necessary functions of a nation, replace all African Americans and deport them. They have taken over the city of Delray Beach. There's an African American city manager at the city of Delray Beach. And the girl who pushed me out, well, her husband is a state registered sex offender. And she could do the work, but she was bullying me. But my point is that they are taking over because now you have the girl and the African American city manager for the first time in the city of Delray Beach. And I noticed them right under Donald Trump's nose. Elon Musk need to come and look and see if they are doing any work because the African Americans sit in those desks and don't do any work and just collect the paycheck. So 5:30 a.m. Thursday, February 20, 2020, I was talking by this lady from Delray. She yelled and started last night. The African Americans just really want to make sure I stay in the condition they put me in, which is running to the ground. That's why I'm online working now. So they won't have access to me to stop me and run me in the ground. They cannot do the work I do with AI on the computer now. So this is the girl who bullied me out of the city of Delray Beach. Her husband is a state registered sex offender, and she ridiculed me about my husband with secondhand information from an attorney's secretary who is her sister. She ruined my career. But this is the father of her children, her 3 children, and then she's married to a state registered sex offender, and he's a Cleckley, and they have property in the city of Delray Beach. So Trump said we're just boys and girls, but Delray Beach has a very large homosexual community, and I went with some people, customers, to the gay club in Delray Beach. So Africa was selling out to imperialists a long time ago. That's what Dr. Arikana Shiomborikwa explained. The value system is bullying, abuse, sex, music, sports, and misogyny. The future generations have no decency and will be lost. The value system, including misogyny, this is for public view. Now, Rihanna, who is the Barbados royalty and now married to ASAP Rocky, whose father is from Barbados, she experienced facial mutilation from Chris Brown, who explained how his family dealt with things. And then O.J. Simpson's wife, she probably experienced her Fourth Amendment rights being violated like me because the police violated my Fourth Amendment rights, the African American police, and he damaged the kitchen and I sent the picture to the FBI. And he also damaged my car and towed my car. So the thing is that the wound, what killed her was a stab wound, not in her face, but they include the facial mutilation because facial mutilation is symbolic of destroying your identity. That's how deep the misogyny is going. That's African Americans are giving us this in our culture. So, 1994, Rwanda genocide, 1 million were killed in 100 days. See, that's culture there, right? There's a man with all the cuts on him. They were using machetes to kill these people. So they beat the, the genocide off the Holocaust. Here it is, the men who are coming to kill the people, and the Canadian military is riding beside them. Think about that for a little bit. The Canadian military is running with the guys who's going to kill 1 million people in 100 days. So the value systems, 1994, Africans cannot stop themselves. So they are divided and conquered. Look at this boy, he survived, but look, you can see. So Professor Lumumba, he attended the University of Belgium, and he also went to law school. He said, hygiene is missing from African politics, and there is no breakfast. So I listen to him almost every day. He said, if you act like grass, goats will eat you. The art of subjugating and devaluing women and children. Here is the Jehovah's Witness children. They are subjugated and used to do construction, free labor for Jehovah's Witnesses who now have 20 billion in land and buildings all over the world. Here's Kanye West having his wife do oral sex on him. For us, that's the art of devaluing and subjugating a woman. And this is very, very bad. This is his wife he's treating like that. And Lamar also was on a video saying something very rude to Chloe, and it's so no dignity, no respect. She has his child. Now the African Americans are violating people's Fourth Amendment rights, and a white lady said that it's the African Americans who were in the military who become police that violate your Fourth Amendment rights and put these worms in your bed. So these are the worms. They go up into your vagina, and this is around the cervix. You have all these worms. And this causes cancer. So I did a little research on the mastitis and worms and cancer, but I heard a lot of talk about worms in America, so I needed to find these pictures. So how evil is that? I also warned Facebook users that this was a kind of bioterrorism which was being done in the United States. Violate your Fourth Amendment rights, put worms in your bed, and then the worms climb up to your cervix, and then they turn into cancer. How evil is that? So this is the path of my little tyke. My son was born in Miami, down here, and then my ex-husband did take us to a house in the newspaper. And we were with him in Delray, and then he wanted us to come, so I guess he loved us, me and two sons. Then the abuse started at Boynton Beach, where he was really subjugating I gave up my job in Miami and came up and basically said drive the kids to school because he didn't know that I was working for the government of Jamaica in the summer since I was 17. I'm a working person, and Cambridge University also managed my high school. So I was on the honor roll immediately when I came into Miami to Miami-Dade Community College. And then they were killed. He was in the gifted class up in Hagan Ranch Elementary School, which was kind of up here. My son tested gifted at 6. For me, that was a signal of trouble because the Jehovah's Witness do not value the education. So when my son tested gifted at 6, I was volunteering in the classroom and the teacher said she would test him. And then they were killed over here in Boca. So it's a lot of moving around. So when you see a husband or a partner who is a man moving around, he's hiding some kind of mischief or weakness or Satan influencing him. So this is how women are being degraded. So they think this is acceptable to be like these hoochie mamas because they're not getting any education and they're not getting any dignity and respect. So Saturday, March 15th at 6:28, a stalker woke me up at 6:28, an African American male, and I warned him not to stalk me. The International Criminal Court and United Nations Human Rights Office should give a verdict. They gave verdicts to Africa, and I am doing the audit, and that's a different video, just like Bill Gates did the audit. And first, I was thinking it should be for 31 countries, $50 billion. So I had 4 government jobs, and I know about the Holocaust. I don't like being assigned as prey and stalked like an animal and treated like animals. I don't like you permitting people to rob me, wipe me out, and I wonder what kind of leaders will go into the future. We have 196 countries watching what happens in the United States courts, the president, everything. So I'm collecting data. The African Americans do not like people from the Caribbean because we came as students and they came as slaves, plus other cultural differences. My friends from high school in Jamaica, one has a PhD and has a charity which is Caribbean Studies, and one has a PhD in psychology. African Americans exhibit some of the culture of Africa, savage and the art of degrading women, plus outrageous government conduct in African American police gangs. Trump fired them in Washington, and he stopped the delivery of extra money by U.S. aid and also misuse of money by U.S. aid, Social Security, etc. A summary: the value system of India and the robots are better for society. At FAU right now we have over 200 Indian students. We have a huge AI engineering building. So the Indian students are studying and we stay busy by studying. I stay busy with the AI. I was gifted use of AI and thank God. I help businesses all over the world at a platform. I use my skills, which I got from my Bachelor of Business Administration and Management. We have to change our value system because the children of the future need good value systems so they will not be killers. Thank you. I'm Idris Marissa Turner, COO of IPETL. That's my email. That's the wrong phone number, but we want to be the one world poverty manager and we want to change the values in the world.